Hello Nidorinas and Nidorinos, I'm KingNido, and today we're coming in from Anistar City, where it is the Galaxy hosting the reigning champions, the Medali Aethers, and there are a lot of similarities between these two sides at the moment. They have both defeated each other one time in their two collisions across the PTL history, but not just that, they've both won 3 games this season with 2 losses, as they are both trying to move themselves into an Elite Four position. So with that said, let us know in the comments below who you think is going to win this matchup. Will it be the Psychic types? Will it be the Flying types? Let's go!
3, 2, 1, go!
And it will be Dodrio alongside Hawlucha, who immediately goes with the Thunder Punch onto Espo, who is joined by Chimecho. Dodrio following up Hawlucha with the Sword Stance. It is going to boost that 110 base physical defense a great deal, as Espo does respond with the Glare that is going to leave Dodrio with that paralysis, so it will be slowed down, but it may also be unable to move. It might not be able to capitalize on that Sword Stance, as we get the Iron Head from Chimecho onto Hawlucha. However, the Fighting Flying type responds with the Synthesis, so immediately it is going to get itself back to full strength here. However, Espo is going to respond with the Roar of Time, and that is a frightening Espo as it gets some massive damage onto Hawlucha. Chimecho follows it up with the Ancient Power, and the 1-2 combination takes Hawlucha, the first draftee of the Medali Aethers, out of this match, as Dodrio is unable to shake off its paralysis as well. It is left standing still on the field, as it is now joined by the Medali Aethers Terrestrial draftee Espatra entering this matchup, and it is an expert at being a Psychic type, as it is going to embrace this Flying typing for its side this season, and it is looking to take down the Anistar Galaxy alongside Dodrio, as it immediately is going to go with the Fake Out onto Chimecho, and we do have Espo having to recharge. Chimecho has flinched, and Dodrio, with the opportunity, is once again left paralyzed, unable to move and capitalize for the Aethers. However, we do get the Aqua Step from Espatra, getting some good damage there onto Espo, getting a speed boost in the process, as it already has speed control. Espo does respond with the Lick, not much damage being done to Espatra there, and we get the Sunny Day set up by Chimecho on the field, as that sunlight is going to turn harsh over the field, and again Dodrio is stuck still in place due to that paralysis. Espatra with the mean look here on to Espo. It is going to make it so it can no longer escape, but Espo is not looking to go anywhere. Instead, it responds with the Stored Power onto that paralyzed Dodrio, and Chimecho with the follow-up Heat Crash, except it is going to go for Espatra, getting some good chip damage there. And finally Dodrio shakes off the paralysis to go for the Psychic Fangs, some good damage for a not very effective move from Dodrio, and Espatra following up with the Scale Shot, this multi-hit move. It needs to get all 5 to maximize that damage, getting some good collisions there, but only connecting twice, lowering its own defense in the process, but boosting that speed once again. Espo is going to go with the Quick Attack, capitalizing on that lowered defense of Espatra. Chimecho going for the Spite. It is going to cut into that PP of Espatra by 4, trying to make it struggle, and again Dodrio paralyzed on the spot, unable to do anything. Espatra is going with the Macho Gotcha. It is going to connect onto both Psychic types there. It puts Chimecho into knockout range, and it is going to restore its own health, having drained it from the Anistar Galaxy in the process. However, this could open the door for Espo, who is left with the Burn. It is going to be feeling that passive damage. It does respond, however, with the Mystical Fire. It is feeling that burn, getting some great damage, lowering the special attack of Espatra in the process. The Swallow from Chimecho is going to fail. It is not going for a stockpile, and again Dodrio with the paralysis, leaving Espatra having to do its part, but that burn on Espo is going to put it into knockout range. Espatra could capitalize, going with the critical Flower Trick onto Chimecho to get that easy elimination, leveling the playing field for the Medali Aethers. However, we do get the low sweep in response from Espo, not very effective onto Espatra, but it does lower that massively boosted speed. This is going to lead to Espatra chowing down on its Lancer Berry. It is getting pumped as Dodrio shakes off the paralysis, going with the Heat Wave, but Espo is able to avoid that heat, but it cannot avoid the burn, as that harsh sunlight over the field is going to fade away. Espo is still hanging on though, as it is now joined by Veluza. Espatra still with the speed control, immediately meets Veluza with that dual wing beat, capitalizing on its newfound flying typing, getting that critical play on the second connection onto Veluza as well for some great damage. Esper does respond with the Worry Seed though on to Espatra. It is going to give it that Insomnia ability, trying to keep it up at night, probably making it think that it wishes it was on the Anistar Galaxy, as the waterfall onto Dodrio, some massive damage from Veluza as the Dodrio is stuck in place once again due to that paralysis, that burn onto Esper. It is hanging on, it has one turn left. Espatra is going to go with the Glaciate though, once again connecting with both members of the Anistar Galaxy, and it takes Esper out in the process. Not very effective onto Veluza, but it does lower its speed, trying to give Dodrio some opportunity, and it's now quicker, and it goes with the explosion. Sick of being left paralyzed on the field, Dodrio has taken itself out and taken out Veluza, but it has taken out its teammate Espatra. We are going to have a field reset, as this is down to a 3 versus 3 matchup. And it will be the Aethers first sending out Tropius onto the field, as it is going to be joined by Palipite. In response to the Anistar Galaxy, they're going to be sending out Medicham, who is having Gothitelle join it on the field, and Medicham is going to go with a super effective Thunderfang, massive damage there onto Palipite with that 4x weakness. This does lead to Palipite chowing down on its barrier. It does restore its health thanks to it holding on to the citrus barrier there, and it is able to respond with a Revelation Dance, capitalizing on its water typing, not its fly typing, but it still gets some massive damage itself onto Medicham, who has its own citrus berry here to restore its health as well. Again, this 3v3 match. Now the Scorching Sands from Gothitelle is not going to work on the flying type, so this allows Tropius to respond with an axe kick on to Gothitelle, but unfortunately it's not very effective, doing very little damage. This opens the door for a no retreat from Medicham. It is going to go for the Omni boost here, and it has those 60 base offensive stats and those 75 base defensive stats that it is boosting. It is not looking to retreat. It wants to capitalize on this. It wants the Galaxy to take down the Aethers, as Gothitelle is going to follow it up with the growth, boosting its own physical stats, sorry, its own offensive stats, including that 95 base special attack. We get the Rock Smash though from Palipite, not very effective onto Gothitelle, but it is going to lower its physical defense in the process. Tropius with the follow-up, Glaive Rush, and it is going for Medicham, getting some good damage there as well, but Medicham does respond with the Thunderclap. However, that is going to fail. This opens the door for Palipite to respond with the Cross Poison, getting in some good damage there onto Gothitelle, but Gothitelle responds with the double hit, going for Tropius, gets some great damage on that first one, and gets that second follow-up as well. Some fantastic connections onto the Grass Flying type, who does respond with the Ice Punch to put Medicham into knockout range. Medicham needs to capitalize on its boost, but instead it goes for the Haze. It is going to eliminate all stat changes instead of capitalizing on them. We get the Tail Slap from Gothitelle, but that is avoided by Palipite, and this opens the door for the Water Flying type to go with the Gunk Shot, continuing with these Poison type moves, gets the critical play onto Gothitelle, and it leaves it with the Poisoning as well. And Tropius is going to follow it up with the Agility. It is trying to take speed control for the Aethers, getting that massive speed boost, but first that Poisoning is going to take Gothitelle out of this match. The Medali Aethers have just taken their 3-2 advantage, as the Anistar Galaxy are sending out Hypno as their last Pokemon. Tropius with the speed control goes for the Earthquake, and it knows that its teammate will not take any damage. It is able to take out Medicham though, and the Aethers suddenly have the 3-1 advantage. Hypno responds with the beat up, but it is all by itself, so that is only going to connect one time onto Tropius. This opens the door for Palipite to go and set up for the Sky Attack, as it becomes cloaked in that harsh light, and those mystical wings take flight. Tropius with the Mega Drain onto Hypno. It is going to restore a little bit of its own health in the process, but Hypno is going to respond with the Pluck on to Tropius, super effective, but unable to take its berry. Tropius chows down on it first, instead holding on to that Enigma berry. It is going to restore its health, and this opens the door for the Sky attack to be finished off by Pelipper, and it gets the critical play to get the critical victory over the Anistar Galaxy, taking Hypno out of this match. After that field reset, Tropius and Pelipper were able to run away with it for the Medali Aethers, and this does move them up into 6th place, as next round they are going up against the Lava Ridge Flare, whereas for the Galaxy, now in 7th, will be going up against the Montana Sylphs. Both these sides have huge games next round, but until then, Nidorinos, thank you so much for watching. Let us know in the comments below who you thought was the best on field, and if you enjoyed what you saw, please leave a like, share, subscribe, but more importantly, always remember, you are awesome, and I will see you when you see me.